What's going on, guys? So I'm about to get into this breakdown of this trade that I took this morning. Today is Tuesday, the June 8th. We're gonna talk about the trade that I took today live on Zoom. It was a break-even trade, and I'm going to go over why I got into the trade, the reasoning behind it, my confirmations and everything. As you can see here, I always journal my trades. These are my quarter 3 trades. As you can see, June 8th break even. My confirmations were a 4-hour order block, a fib long in an uptrend. This is the before picture, but I'm gonna show you guys on the chart as well. This is not even the before picture now that I think about it. So matter of fact, let me get rid of this. This is after the fact. This is the after. Put that there. This is actually the after picture, not the before. So let's just get into the chart. Okay, so as of right here, if you look, what I had marked up, I had this 4-hour order block, which is right here. This last down candle before this uptrend. You could use this one, but I just use this because it was being respected way better than this if I would have used this body. So this is the 4-hour order block that I was using. If you go down to the 1 hour, at this time it was around 6 in the morning, we had a major drop that came and rejected 34,500, and then price started to hold above this fib, and this fib was drawn from this level 34,500. I have it drawn from this whole number level, and I have it drawn all the way to the top of this body's candle. So this is the fib right there, and then those are our 2 confirmations, 3 confirmations if we want to count this. I'm not going to count it. So we rejected this. We were holding above the 4-hour bullish order block. We were rejecting the 70.50%, closing above, and we're overall in this uptrend, respecting these lows. Made another lower low, and I was anticipating price to then push up. I wanted to see price push up, and the reason I wanted it to push up to this level is because the confirmations we have above here, and I have a fib, and this fib that I have drawn right here is drawn from this high to this low. So basically the same fib that I had drawn, just upside down. And I was anticipating price will come up, and if you look to the left, there was also an imbalance on the hour time frame at this same level, and also there was also a 4-hour order block right here too. So if you look at the last up candle before this down move right here, so we had 3 confirmations in that area. So that was a target that I was looking to take. And my last confirmation to why I took this trade, if you look at the volume, most of the volume was right here, and that's where price started to push. So I was insinuating price will take these highs to then trade above here. So let's go into a 30-minute because this is where I took the trade. So when I was taking the trade, I started looking at the charts around 8 o'clock, 8:30. So this is the 8:30 candle. I was waiting to see if price will come down to the top of this wick so it wouldn't form an imbalance, and that is exactly what happened. Price came down. We had a 50-point stop, but a way that I was going to mitigate my risk is I knew that if we were to break this hourly low, that we could cut the trade off earlier than expected, and that only would have been a 20 pip loss, 22 pip loss out of a 50 pip stop loss, and our TP was for a minimum would have been 75 because the 62, the start of the imbalance, and above this high is where I would have took most of the partials if I could. But in this case, it was a break-even trade, and I'm going to show you why. So as the price started moving, let's just move it slow. It started going our way. This candle was the 30-minute candle that was 20 minutes that we were in this candle. As we were up here, we were about to break the high. That is when I broke even this trade. We were up 33 points. Let me show you guys in a Telegram real quick. So as you can see, I showed everyone that I was taking this trade while I was taking it live on Zoom. I had a 50-point stop looking for, I meant to put 4-hour, not $hour. 4-hour order block plus imbalance in the fib short. And then I took a break-even trade on that setup, was up about 30 points, but the 9:30 volume stopped us out. So let's look at it real quick. And then once we saw this candle form like this, I was basically, at this point, I knew I was going to get stopped out at break even, but I just let it run because you never know. So that was 2 confirmation that price could possibly keep falling because we had this bearish 30-minute candle plus this rejection. And if you look to the left, there was a 30-minute order block right here. I didn't think we were going to respect this order block. I thought we were going to respect the overall higher time frame order blocks, But in this case, we did respect this order block, and as you can see, this is the 9 o'clock, so the 9:30 candle just started to melt, came down to these levels, and if you look at price right now, it's falling even lower. If you look at price, let's take all these off, take all this off because the price is not respecting it, and I'm anticipating price will come down to this hour order block at 34,450. That's basically what I'm looking at right now. Today was the first trade of the week, nothing crazy. And let's look at the fib on this level, and that's where price is respecting right now. But I think we still have room to fall lower, because if you look at the volume profile, where the low liquidity is all down here. So that's where I was expecting price to come down to if we didn't respect this level. What's going on? So I'm about to get into this another break-even trade that we had today. This is our second trade of the week that we broke even at. Both trades were taken on Zoom live with my people from my group chat, as you can see here. So this is the trade I'm going to be getting into and explaining and breaking down right now. So it was a break-even trade taken today, June 9th. The confirmations of the time frame that I was using the 30-minute and the hour time frame. So let's just get into the breakdown. So, okay, so if you look at price overall from yesterday, it was basically the same type of setup. I was having the same targets. I was targeting this imbalance at this 4-hour order block of this 4-hour fib short. And this is the same fib that I had drawn from yesterday. So most of my markup hasn't changed. The only thing that changed, if you look right here on the 30-minute, yesterday we formed this 30-minute order block, and then price started to trade down into it this morning, and from there I drew my fib from the bottom of this low to this high of the range that price was currently in. And if you see, price came down, rejected to 62% of a 4-hour fib long. So this overall fib that I have drawn from this low to this high, we rejected 62% of that. And on this 30-minute, the 30-minute fib that I had drawn from this low to the high right here, the 62, the 70.5, and the 79, the 62 and the 70.5 were the ones rejected out of the three. So that's two different fibs that we had confirmation of. We had an overall uptrend, we had a 30-minute order block rejection, and then we had this bullish engulfing candle form at this. So that was multiple confirmations that we had to see price continuing bullish. So from here at 8 o'clock, I waited for a retracement down to this top of this candle, because if you know about imbalances, usually they don't like to leave gaps in the market. So I got in here with my stop below this 30-minute candle, but I already knew ahead of time that if I wanted to keep my risk low, I knew that if we start to break below this candle's low right here, that I could take that trade out early for a 30 pip loss. So then I let price go, started moving, we went into some profit, and then if you see right now, price started to fall. But mind you, at this point right here, I was already break even. From this point, I was anticipating price was going to break these highs above here. It didn't happen, so I had broke even when I was about 20 pips in the profit, because I knew that if price was to break this 30-minute low, it most likely would keep falling. So I was break even. I was waiting to see what price was doing. So we had this doji here, so the same situation as yesterday. We had a doji and then that fall, same time, 9 o'clock, 8:30, 8 o'clock, and then we basically had the same exact move again to the downside. And it just is what it is. We broke even on another trade. We didn't take an L, so it is what it is. Overall, I want to see if we can keep this uptrend, because I'm still keeping these targets up here. I know this is where overall I want to see targets hit this week at 34,750. So we just got to wait and see. That's my last trade of the day. I'm not going to overtrade, keep risk small, and that's just what you got to do. And I'll see you guys in the next one. What's going on, guys? So today is Thursday, June 10th, and I'm going to be going over this trade that I took today. This is personally a trade that I did not, let me get this out of the way. This is personally a trade that I did not call out in this group chat because it was a little bit risky, and I wasn't going to risk people taking the trades. So it was a trade that I took, but overall, this is the trade that I took, and I'm going to be going over why I took it and the confirmation I saw. This trade ended up in a loss. As you can see over here, it was a loss. It was a 30-point loss. So this is the first L of the week. The first 2 days I broke even, and today I took my first L. It is what it is, but we're gonna get into it and why. So right here, as we can see, price has been in this downtrend all week. We had this higher high, we've had lower highs, lower high, another lower high, in which I was anticipating price to keep falling down. So right here, when this is 8:30, we had news at 8:30 that pushed the market up. And from here, if you look on the 4 hour, we had a 4 hour order block right here at 34,619. This is an area that I was telling everyone in the group chat to look for right here. This is the area I was watching, and I've been watching it since last night. This was our order block. I ended up changing it this morning to the middle because I like the 70.50. That's our OTE zone, our optimal trade entry, which is the ICT concept if you guys want to learn more about it. So that was that, and then that was our 4 hour order block. And if you look up here, I had my fib drawn from this high because this is the highest high. This is the highest high out of this whole range. As you can see, this never broke it, so this is the high that I drew the fib from, and then I drew it all the way to the low down here. This is drawn on the hour, so that's why I didn't draw it from here. On the hour, this is the bottom, so that's why I had the fib drawn there. So we had our 2 confirmations in this area. We had our fib with our 4 hour order block, and if you pull out the volume profile, which I go over on my YouTube channel, you can see that the area with the most volume was right here in the middle, which also in this area. So I had 3 confirmations plus this downtrend, 4 confirmations to see why price was going to fall. And if you also look to the left, we had an imbalance right here that was being filled as of right now. So that's why I had my stop above. In case price came up a little bit higher, we would still be able, this is a 30-minute order block, so we could possibly tap that, fill this imbalance before falling. So I had a 50-point stop, which was above up here, 50-point stop, and I just took the trade. I had all the confirmations and I was just following my rules. That's all it really was. I waited, saw a rejection of this 7.50, and then price started to go up bullish. We started to form, and from here I ended up closing the trade at a 30-point. It wasn't this, it was the next hand that actually took the trade right here. I had closed it at when it hit 30 because I saw at the way these candles were closing, they were no longer rejecting this fib, they were all breaking above it. So from that point, I closed at 30 points, mitigated my loss. I would have took that 50-point loss if I would have held it. So it was a good trade. And as you can see, price ended up coming higher to this imbalance, 34,750 quarter point that I was looking at earlier on in the week. This is actually an area that I've been looking at all week to be targeted up here. And I couldn't take advantage of the trade, sadly. I've been trying to take trades to this level all week, and the one day that I took the L is when price came to that level. It is what it is. We followed our rules. That's all you could do. I followed all the rules to this setup, and it just didn't go my way. And that's really it. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll see what happens. What's going on? So today is Friday, June 11th, and I'm going to be going over a sell that I took this morning on US 30. So basically around this time, this is 9 o'clock. I got on the charts around 8:30, and at that time we were right down here in price. So at this point, I saw that we were in this overall uptrend. I pulled my fib from this London low at 2 o'clock. I had this low down here. Don't mind these blue boxes right now. I'll get into why they're there in a second. So I had my fib pulled from here to here because overall I knew we were in this uptrend, and I saw that we were respecting this 38.20% level, which is my continuation level. If you guys don't know, when price comes to these levels, it is likely to have that continuation of the trend. The lower it comes, you have a higher chance of having that overall push back up because you're getting into an overbought scenario. So in this case, I did not take this trade because I did not have enough confirmations besides the 38.20%. That was the only confirmation I had for price to keep moving up. So at this point, I was just waiting. At this point, I wasn't going to take any trades, but if you look above, why I have all these things here, if you look on the hour time frame, we had a 1 hour order block above here. And if you look overall from the moves that we had at the beginning of the week, we respected this overall fib of this higher time frame. Let me get rid of this level. We we were respecting this overall fib, but this higher time frame from the move from this high to this low, and we were trading inside of this range still. So we had already respected this, so I knew we were overall on this downtrend overall. So if I wanted to see this continuation of the downtrend, I knew we had a higher high, a lower high, and I was anticipating. Actually, you weren't even supposed to see this just now, so let's move back a little bit. I was anticipating price to make another higher high right here, lower high, I mean, to see price have that continuation down. So I waited. At this point, it was 9 o'clock. I saw that price was still bullish, and I waited. The areas that I was targeting were up here at around 34,660. And why I was targeting that, because if you see right here, overall, there was a 1 hour order block in this area right here. And a way that I refined this was by also seeing that there was a 30-minute order block here. And what I did was I pulled my fib from the top of this 1 hour order block to the bottom of the 1 hour order block, and I got the 50% of it. So that's why I have this 50% marked up here, because this is an area of refinement. It basically allows you to have a higher chance of getting into a trade with lower risk. So you could have gotten to the trade here, but you would have had to have a wider stop loss, at least above this order block, at least above these highs, which would have been 80 points. When if you would have waited for the 50%, you would have had a 40 to 30 pip stop loss. So that's why I waited. Also, that 79% of the fib was also in this level, so there was a lot of confluence in this area that I was looking for price to make it to then possibly continue this downtrend. So what I did was I waited, and then what happened? Price went exactly to this level and then fell. The area that I got into price in this trade, I got in somewhere right here. I'm not sure the exact number. And the areas we were targeting, there was a 30-minute order block right here at this whole number 34,500 area. So that was an area of target that I was looking to watch, and there was also a fib from this level here. You could have also pulled the fib from this low, which would have been also confluence for here. Don't mind this no more, because doesn't matter. These were areas that we were looking to target, and also there was another target right here under the 30-minute. These are just areas that I was looking to target, and overall this move ended up falling way bigger than I thought. If you look at where prices as of right now, prices fell about 280 points from this area that I had got in. And if you look in the Telegram, I called this trade out right here. I was going over why price was still going to move up, the 50%, the 30-minute order block, and I had that 50-point stop that I was looking to take. I waited. I said I'm waiting for shorts around 660, and 660 is around right here, this area. I waited to see, and then I got my entry. I've been on move, ain't been spending no time. Was supposed to get my daughter, I just broke her little heart. I just did another walkthrough for a damn. And then price, I didn't take advantage of this full move. Unfortunately, I didn't think it was going to fall this far, but it is what it is. I got around 80 pips to end the week for myself personally. That's cool because I broke even 2 days and then took an L yesterday. So it is what it is. I took 50 pips to end the week. And overall, US30 ended up targeting these daily lows. And that's really it. It's Friday. It is what it is. We had an okay week. Could have been better, but I'm glad I was able to take advantage of this nice trade, because this is a crazy trade. These are the trade setups that price never comes back, and it was little to no drawdown. Maybe like, what is this, 5 pip drawdown, 6 pip drawdown, nothing, little to nothing.